Hello, you're listening to No Kids, No Pain. I'm Romina Puma.
And I'm Luca Cupani, and this podcast is about the choice of being child-free.
Each week we will explore the topic of choosing not to have kids.
And we would love to hear from you too.
If you decide to be child-free,
don't feel guilty, this is the podcast for you.
And if you have kids,
here's what you're missing out.
Welcome to a new episode of No Kids, No Pain. I'm here as usual with my co-host Luca Cupani.
Hi Romina, yes, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good, I'm excited because we have a great guest today.
Yes, we do have a guest as usual, and I would like you to introduce our new guest.
A friend of ours, is a brilliant comedian, and he also speaks Italian.
Yes.
Sometimes, and his name is Tim Shishodia, so
Yay!
welcome Tim.
Hello.
Welcome.
Good to be here.
Nice to have you here. How are you?
All right, not too bad.
Not too bad.
can't
Good,
complain.
good. So I think this is the question that we always ask to our guests. Do you have any kids?
I don't.
And the second question is it by choice or like...
It would have to be by choice, yeah. Although it's not a choice I consciously made, if you know.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I've been married almost 20 years, so 20 years next year. And it was several years into the marriage that we first had the discussion about kids.
How did
it was
that?
already too late. We're already probably too old to have them. So it was a bit...
what happened there? All those years, you just didn't think?
Just never... it never came up. I think the reality was it just seemed like something you couldn't do. For me, having kids was like having a house in Kensington or something like that.
Unachievable.
It was unachievable option, yeah. So it was just something you didn't need to discuss because it wasn't going to. So it wasn't as if I'd always had some very fixed idea that I didn't want to have kids. It just, in the same way as I don't have a fixed idea against having a Porsche car. But
you never discussed like
we never discussed having a Porsche car. But so it just growing up. I grew up in a big family for our standards anyway, four kids.
Okay.
In quite a small house in Kent, so it was very competitive growing up.
And were you like the oldest, the youngest, the
middle? So I had an elder brother and then boy and girl twins below me.
Okay.
So so it was just a lot of competition for resources, milk and particularly milk.
Yeah.
And all food, I'm not saying it's terrible, but it was there wasn't a lot of money around.
Yeah.
And I think that must have informed me at some point to think, when I'm older, I'd like a bit more freedom.
Yeah.
And not to struggle like that.
Yeah.
And I think in my mind, if I had kids, I wouldn't want them to struggle like that.
Yeah. I think this is one of the things that we also discussed. Sometimes our childhood is what affects them in the future. That's why we don't have kids.
Yeah. That's certainly the case, I think, as in my case. I think it would have been quite different if, I earned a big salary, there's a lot of money around, and I think I could have possibly have looked at it differently. But as it happens, I've been struggling with, rubbish jobs. And, a comedy career with a lot of potential.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to this day, I still retain that potential, which is great. And, maybe I'll turn into gold at one point, any moment now. yeah, I know. I think that was the case. As far as my wife goes, I think possibly similar circumstances. She spent first 8 years of her life growing up in India, out in a village, so not affluent circumstances. I mean, she was worse than me. We may have been fighting for milk. She was fighting for basic nutrition. I don't think she'd seen a banana until she came over here and things like this. So, so there's a lot of competition there, lots of siblings. And then for her breaking out when she moved to Glasgow, 18, which is a big thing from an Indian family as well, because just leaving home is kind of unusual.
So she moved alone, not with her
She
parents.
moved alone.
Okay.
Wow.
She sort of ran away, which and started working in bars and clubs in Glasgow. So she then got her own flat. So her independence is really important to her.
It's like freedom. It goes then to and then with the not having kids, I believe sometimes, because when you have a kid, then you have to put the
Goodbye freedom.
Well, the child has to be the center.
It completely goes out the window because everything is around the kid.
Well, exactly. I mean, I study languages at university, and like one of the main jobs that they try to sort of send you into is teaching. As far as I could say with teaching, it just didn't make any sense to me in the sense that I've literally just grown up, learned something, and then I'm just passing it on to someone else. What purpose have I served in the world exactly? And like with kids, it was like, well, I've just stopped being a kid. So if I was to have kids now, I'm just bringing up another kid. What purpose have I? Why have I been here? What's my unique contribution?
You would transition from kid to parent without being able to be the true yourself. Without being able to know yourself, I think, because
exactly.
I believe that now there's more awareness also on parents' side. They are more aware that the child has to be the center of attention. My friends who have kids, they read books, but they get almost a degree in becoming parents. So they have to.
My mum never read a book to me. She used to play cassettes with the story. So off you go. I'm done. Bye.
You're lucky you had that.
It was easier in a way. It was less problem. I don't know. I think now it's a sort of a full-time job for parents. So as this awareness gets more important, then you also think, do I want to be a parent? It becomes a choice. So before it was sort of no-brainer. You at some point you have kids. Whether you are a good or bad parent doesn't really matter
that's a good point because. I'm from a working class background, and people from working class, especially from that period and growing up in the 70s and 80s, everyone talks with nostalgia about those times and how parents were. They would let their kids out all day and you wouldn't see them all day. And it's true until like your mum would shout out the door
at 6 o'clock.
Your dinner's ready, And we could be streets away, getting bitten by dogs and perverts after us and all sorts of things, but we just shake them off, dinner's ready, and they come back. But the fact is, if I was to be a parent now, I'd be the one you described, which is the engaged middle class one that does everything.
And you're responsible. You feel responsible for everything because the kid has to be whatever is the kid's emotion. They need to be taken in consideration, and then there's no time for you. So if, like us, you wanted to know yourself, I think it's a natural choice to think, well, I'm not gonna have kids. I'm not gonna focus all my energy on another human being. I will just focus on knowing myself a bit better and be free with my own independence.
Now, how did the conversation go with your wife when you? What happened? What made a click to say, "Oh, but do you want kids? Perhaps." How did that happen? Because you said you didn't look into that, or you didn't mention for many years.
We'd never discussed it, and several years in, I think we were watching TV, and I don't know what prompted it. I mean, it sounds a bit weird, but maybe a child.
maybe a commercial about kids, or maybe pets. And dog. By the way, puppies.
I don't know. It was something really. I mean, presumably I would have seen some children before then.
Maybe
It can't have been the first
We were
child.
watching Peppa Pig or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
maybe British Bake Off, but the junior version
junior.
with kids. Oh,
Yeah.
there are kids also.
Yeah, it's strange, but I suppose it's just maybe it's just at that point where I don't know. It was too late. I'm always dealing with things too late anyway. You know? I mean,
Welcome
that's
to
just
the
a
club.
general thing. So maybe just felt a bit more secure in relationship at the house, and then you know, I mean, I'd almost say that we could look at it now and think, "Oh, could you have one now?" You know, but you know, if there was no biological clock, you could consider it. I think you know circumstances change. You know, you might be more financially secure, for example. You might have your house.
But do you have the energy?
You don't have the energy.
Because you need to. I mean.
But then I've appreciated what children give you. I'm not one of these that's against it completely, you know, or anything. I do appreciate what children bring you.
Yeah.
You know, and I appreciate that in my friends who've got children, and you know, the fun, the mad things they come up with, you know, and trying to produce comedy, I can see how much, you know, just thinking selfishly, how much they could contribute to that.
Yeah.
You know, the way their mindset. I mean, a friend of mine, his son, we were around their house one time. His son is like 9, and just out of the blue, he said, "I think prison would be good." You know?
Wow.
I said, "Why not?" He said, "Oh, well, you wouldn't need a coat, would you?
That makes sense.
You wouldn't
Well,
have a coat.
maybe
Because you're
when you
always
Because
inside.
you're always inside,
Inside.
you know." I mean, I love the randomness.
yeah, and it
I
doesn't
wonder where
rain.
that come
It
from.
doesn't rain in your cell, does it?
Yeah.
So, you know, but I just thought, oh, I could just, if you've got any more of these, I'll just write all these down and I'll go and perform these. I don't have to bother writing anything again. So I do appreciate all that. But you're right, then other circumstances conspire against you, and time, less energy. And so, yeah. But I think as far as, you know, loneliness, I suppose that's the question. Do you feel an element of loneliness? And I'd say my wife and I didn't, if you'd asked us that. I think we'd been fine.
Yeah.
But then, interestingly, about a year ago, we had a neighbour's cat come round, right around our house, just kept coming round, really confident cat, would spend all day with us, right, this cat. And it was a lovely, funny cat, and it almost played the role of a child, if you like,
Yeah.
or a third member in the household. And we'd missed the cat when it wasn't
Around.
there.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that that if you know, had you asked us before, you know, whether we're lonely, whether there was a hole there that would have been filled by children, I would have said no, we're perfectly happy. But it was interesting that the cat's presence identified a bit of one, I thought. And that cat is now gone, right? But the neighbour
Moved.
Oh,
okay.
And there's
moved away, took the
cat-shaped hole in your...
There was a cat-shaped hole. Now we've got a cat. Right?
Oh,
You have a
good.
cat
Which
now.
is a classic thing.
I do have a cat.
Have you got a cat?
I do have
Oh,
a
there you
cat.
go.
It is with her daddy now, but normally she's
Oh,
here.
really?
Yeah. I do have a cat. Yeah.
But I think this might be the same also for couples with kids, because the kids are a constant presence when they're young. Then they go, not in Italy, they stay with you until you die, basically. But in normal countries, at some point they
leave.
they live their life, and so then parents feel that they miss they're not
But
having kids
also
around anymore.
Some people they have kids because, well, not only they want kids, obviously, but they also have this thing in their head, you know, at some point then they will look after me. But it's not always the case, is it?
Can't
You
rely
cannot
on it.
plan on it, because then you're giving life to an independent person that have every right to do whatever they like and even move to another country. You cannot expect them to stay with you. You're not giving birth to a carer.
Yeah.
But I have two quick questions. They're kind of related. So when did you ask your wife? What if she had said, "Oh, I'm glad you asked, because actually, yeah, I was wondering. It's about time you asked." And have you mentioned this since then, or once that?
Yeah, she doesn't really. She never really talks about it. I think she's probably the least
Keen.
maternal keen. Out of the two of us, I think I've probably felt it a bit more, but not to the point of we should have children.
Yeah.
But she doesn't even discuss it that much. So neither do I really.
Yeah.
I just say out the two of us. So it's just. But also, as I say, the age, she's older than me, so it was already, there wasn't much of a window even when we got married. We got married a bit older.
Okay.
Already well into 30s. So, again, maybe that was another factor in the background that meant that, a discussion wasn't really relevant.
Yeah. Other things were relevant for you too, and that wasn't the main thing in your life.
No.
You were happy with your life, the way you were living. So it was. But did you have any pressure from your family or from our family?
That's a good question, because you mentioned Italy, and I'm familiar with how that is. Because when I was over there, Italian friend, he just got married, and then he moved directly back into the home with his parents. They just built an extension on the house.
Yeah, yes,
of course.
He took his wife in there. But that closeness to family, I mean, from my background, it's whilst you've got the big family, I'd say there isn't that much closeness, and they're kind of keen. In our case, we had 4 kids, and then the job seemed to be trying to get rid of them as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's
including the kids themselves. So when I went to university, a lot of people try to choose the furthest university they can find. It's all
to
like
go away.
So the parents want rid of the kids. Kids wanted rid of the parents.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you left, then the parents think again and want the kids to come back. And then the kids are checking their diary. I don't know, I'm a bit busy. This sort of thing.
Leave me alone.
So I don't think I had that strong. My sister had a close relationship with my parents, ringing them up every day and this sort of thing. But I'm quite distant from them, I'd say. More like every 3 months. And so, it's...
I talk to my dad 3 times a day.
Do you? Oh my God.
But to be fair, we weren't that close for many, many, many years.
You're catching up.
I'm sort of catching up, and he's getting older, and he's far away, and he's on his own. So I'm kind of, and I'm a control freak, so I need to have everything under control. So I always check up on him if it's okay, and so we. Between 2 and 3 times a day, we either just good. A little message, everything okay? Yeah, boom. Okay.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had that more, really. But I don't know if that's typical of sons or British. There is a particularly British thing where I just feel there's not much community a lot of the time. Everyone's out for themselves, sort of an atomized society. And so whilst I had like a good example of the family, like 4 kids, it was good and we got on. It didn't make me think, well, I must have that myself. In fact, I came away thinking, well,
let me get away from this.
I want to get away from much as I liked it. When it comes to Christmas Day, I quite like the peace we have. Having said
so you don't do a Christmas like with the whole family, because you said you come from a big family.
I do, but I don't go and see them. I've done, but
more milk for you.
Yeah,
you don't want to. You want to share
Prosecco these days.
You don't want to share. No, not gonna share. This is
I have a white milk moustache throughout Christmas Day.
I still. I mean, since I've been with my boyfriend, we spend Christmas with his family.
Right.
And so sometimes some of the brothers join in, sometimes they're not, but we are spending at least with his mother.
That's good,
Yeah.
I think Christmas is an interesting time actually, because I think throughout the year not having kids doesn't really come up that much. But when it comes to Christmas, or at least after Christmas, if you go back to work, you see people and they say, "Oh, you have a good Christmas." If you're just on your own, my wife and I, we have a lovely time.
Yeah.
Just pissed anyway. But it just sounds rubbish. Right? Whereas people with kids, it just sounds incredible. Oh, we had about 1,000 kids and over 40 turkeys. You go, oh wow, what a wonderful day. And like, how about you two? Oh,
we just got pissed.
Just drunk.
Yeah, but
empty the contents of the fridge.
Yeah, with my wife and I, we like to watch some movie and be alone and having good food. And it's the best meal of the year. Like, eat a lot, be happy together. No problem. We feel happy that we are free. We also have niece and nephews. We love them. So, but
for that little time, and then But my Christmases, when I didn't have a boyfriend, I was still in Italy. My Christmases were at work. Because I used to work in restaurants. So I used to work on Christmas, and then I used to join my friends skiing in the mountain for New Year's Eve.
Oh, nice.
That used to be my Christmas period.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And some money, and then spend them on
spend it all on.
And I had an amazing time. I didn't miss it, because even as a kid, because my family is a bit weird, I have to say that, because of my mother, that she wasn't mentally well, we weren't talking to any of the rest of the family. So we always had a Christmas, just the three of us. And it was boring as hell. And when I was going back to school after the Christmas period, and all the other, this, and then I was like, man, it was bloody boring.
Yeah.
And so I never had that
special.
I never seen it as it's amazing.
I think Christmas is a difficult thing anyway, right? Because you're sort of living up to this ideal that seems to be unachievable, which is like the Christmas you had as a kid, the excitement of coming down and, the thought of there being this Father Christmas, it's magical.
Yeah.
And I think every year everyone sort of builds up to it, whether you've got kids or not. So it's always unachievable. But then if you take kids out of that, it seems like you're even further from it, right?
Yeah.
But as you said, it doesn't actually mean that you have a bad time. We have a good time. It's more like how it's presented to other people.
I
just feel
it's just society thinks that if you have a Christmas without the kids, it's not.
I think this is
it's not Christmas.
This is the fault of John Lewis commercial. They usually make you cry with some sob story of a man alone, and then a little kid, the little girl, she sees this man, the neighbor. Maybe he wants to be alone. Maybe he's so happy. Maybe he's gonna play his, I don't know, Game of Thrones the whole season, binge watching. No, he has to join them and feeling grateful because we have some.
You can be on your own on Christmas.
Say,
I'm so happy. Leave me alone.
Maybe he just wants to be alone, but no, it's just. And then he finds trapped in a John Lewis commercial. So I think it gives this sort of sad feeling. But, and when I was younger, we would meet my cousin. I didn't have anything to tell them because we weren't that close. But on Christmas, we had to pretend we were a big family. So that was awkward. I would rather be with people I know and I enjoy better than just, because we were trying to recreate some sort of Italian equivalent of the John Lewis commercial.
But we have this saying in Italy. I don't know if you have it here in the UK as well. But we say Christmas with the family and Easter with whoever you want. You don't have it.
I've not heard that.
No. In Italy, Natale con I tuoi, Pasqua con chi vuoi.
Okay.
That you speak Italian, that's why I said it in Italian.
Okay.
But it's...
Easter's not much of a thing here, really.
No? Kind of neither.
In Italy, it becomes a special thing because you are not obliged to spend it with your family. That's why it becomes better.
Picnics with your friends.
Okay.
Christmas, if you sometimes people feel guilty if they make a bit of money and they want to have a Christmas on Tenerife or Maldives, those who can afford. Then they look. They're not here. They're having. and they feel like traitors
Yeah.
of the family.
Yeah.
But Easter, everyone is welcome to go whenever they want and be yourself.
You're more free. Yeah. But I think, what do you think?
I think it was a very
good episode.
Yeah, I think it comes to conclusion. We really, and towards Christmas, I don't know what we will be. Now we have to make sure that it goes before Christmas.
No, but it's gonna go out after Christmas.
Okay, so it will be a reminder.
Special.
It could be a reminder.
January.
It's the Orthodox Christmas. We can still make it for it. Or
we also
Chinese
spoke
New
about
Year's Eve.
we also spoke about Easter, so
Yes, so
in between the two, it's fine.
Yeah, so it will see the light before Easter for sure.
But yeah, I would like to thank you, Tim, for coming on the show.
And where can people follow you on social media? Where they can?
Oh well, I'm old, so Facebook.
So Facebook and at Tim Shishodia.
Yes. Twitter as well. Yeah.
Oh, Twitter.
Yeah.
So Facebook and Twitter, or X, as they call it now.
Yeah.
And good. And you can also write to us. Tell us if you have any
questions.
If you have a similar experience with like the Tim had, you just ask your partner after 10 years into the marriage. How about kids? And let us know by emailing us at nokidsnopain@gmail.com.
Or on social media, No Kids No Pain.
One word. Yes.
Yes. And that's all from us.
Yes. See you next time.
Thank you. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Ciao.